Hey, how you guys doing? I just want to share my story with God with you guys for 5 minutes. So I grew up in a Christian home and always knew about God, and my parents took me to church, and so always was around people like that. But the first time I ever had an encounter with God, I was 12 years old, and I was sitting in church, minding my own business, bored out of my mind. It was a night service, and right in the middle of the guest speaker speaking, I wasn't even listening to it, just the presence of God fell on me, and I just started crying, and I knew it was God. I just felt like God was saying, I love you so much, I have a call in your life. And I was like, this is real, God's real. And I remember looking over at my friend who was, she was a little bit older than me. She was kind of like, not a youth group leader, but if we had one, she would be. And I looked over at her, and she was like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I'm not okay. And then she took me out back, and she goes, have you ever, given your life to Jesus, and trying to explain the gospel to me? I was like, I kind of just thought I believed all that, and so that was the first time I had an encounter with God. I went home to bed that night, and I lied in bed, and I remember thinking, man, I really, really know God loves me and has a purpose for me, and that means that He must love my friends, and so I want to hang out with all my friends all the time, and I want them to come to know God. But what actually happened from then on with my teenage years, most of my friends weren't Christian. All I wanted to do was skate. I just wanted to, I was really, not skateboarding, but rollerblading, like half pipes. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to go to X Games. I wanted to drop out of high school, and that's all I wanted to do. Most of my friends weren't following God, so I got into drinking and smoking and all this stuff, that wasn't really me, but I just wanted to have fun and do that, And I always had a girlfriend. If I didn't have a girlfriend, I was looking for a girlfriend, and so many relationships up and down, and that was my teenage life. I dropped out of high school and I went into hairdressing, of all things. Did that for about 8 years, and I loved it so much. I was in an amazing salon with an amazing lady that owned the salon. She was so good to me. She trained me up. There was also, the person that got me the job was an amazing lady who actually knew God, and that was just an amazing opportunity. And I loved it. I loved being around people. I loved doing all that kind of stuff. I loved being creative. So I'd learn how to color hair and cut hair and do competitions and do photography competition, you name it. Loved all that stuff. And I even went to youth group quite a few times there, where I had some incredible encounters with God. But it wasn't until I was actually 20 that I met a friend who was a Christian. He had moved here, him and his wife, from America to help plant a church. And it was right around that time that I decided, man, I am definitely not following God. Like, I am running away from God. I believe in God. I believe in all these things, these encounters, but I am definitely not following Jesus. And I remember thinking, before I even met this friend of mine, I remember thinking, God has a plan for my life. I really believe that. But I bet as long as I'm not following Him, especially running away from Him, I'm never going to know what that plan is for my life. And so right when I really was thinking about that, I met this friend of mine. And he was the funniest guy, literally the funniest guy I'd ever met in my life. If he wasn't doing ministry, he could be paid to be a stand-up comedian. He was so funny, and he had such a genuine story about how the power of God touched his life and how he started following God. About 3 months after meeting this beautiful couple, God just arrested me one night. I was driving down the road and I ran out of petrol, and I had to walk home without a cell phone. So it was kind of like God just forced me to be with Him by myself. And I could just feel God just chasing me. And I could feel God just saying, I love you so much. I have a call in your life. I have a destiny. I have a future. I have a plan. I believe in you more than you believe in me. And it's your choice tonight to whether you want to trust me with everything. But I want you to know I love you either way. And I just lost it. I just absolutely lost it. And I started crying, and I fell on the street in the middle of the night. I remember my hands touching the concrete on the street, thinking, oh my goodness, I hope nobody's watching me. They'll probably think I'm crazy. And I was just crying, and I knew God was right there saying, I love you. And right then I just said to God, that's it, I'm done. I am going to trust you with everything from now on. I'm following you with everything, even the things I don't understand, because I know that you love me and you'll help me understand. And that's when I really decided to follow Jesus, to really trust Jesus.